Hey guys, Qortal Justin here, back with another video. In this one, we're going to be taking a look at how front-end developers can become full-stack developers using Qortal's very own decentralized blockchain infrastructure. Let's get into it. So I often speak as a web developer myself to other web developers or front-end developers, and I often hear a common complaint: the need to have to build a backend as a web developer. Yes, that's right. When you're a web developer, usually you want to focus on the client-facing application. That means not having to deal with backend languages such as Node.js, Java, .NET, or DevOps logic to publish to a third-party infrastructure, or having to deal with security or authentication. These are all extra complexity layers that as a web developer are usually a pain in the arse, to be honest. Instead, what if I told you that there was a better way? And that way came in the form of Qortal, which stripped away all these backend layers. On Qortal, when you publish a Qortal app or Q app, you're essentially bundling your JavaScript app and publishing it to the Qortal Data Network. It is then served to people peer-to-peer who are accessing your application. Therefore, gone are the need for Amazon Web Services, Firebase, or any monthly hosting costs. Instead, you pay a one-time fee to publish the app, and that's it. Gone are all these backend complex services or needing to learn a backend language at all. It's all taken care of by Qortal. The second point to consider is how authentication and identity are built into Qortal. So, Qortal has a system of authentication known as names, whereby every user on the Qortal blockchain has their own name. This name allows data to be tied to a specific user on the chain. So in terms of Q apps, this means that developers building Q apps no longer need to worry about building authentication within their apps. Instead, they could rely on the names-based logic to handle authentication. This makes it so much easier because you're no longer worrying about third-party logins such as OAuth or having to replicate your authentication logic across multiple apps as with the normal internet. This quickly becomes a hassle because authentication always changes on the normal web. Instead, on Qortal, you don't even worry about it. You're just focusing on building the client-side application that you really want to deploy to Qortal. So authentication becomes a breeze when using Qortal, and this is much better for every front-end developer out there. And lastly, let's talk about databases. So as a front-end developer, usually databases are a nightmare, to be honest. You have to worry about choosing NoSQL or an SQL database, learning logic that you usually don't understand too well, and having to make sure that your database works well so that you could fetch that logic to your front-end application so that you could just deploy the app that you're actually trying to build. Instead, what if I told you that all that is taken care of by the Qortal Data Network, which is the data layer that sits on top of the Qortal blockchain? All that database logic is handled directly on Qortal. Therefore, as a web developer, all you truly need to worry about is learning the API, which is very, very clean and simple to understand. On Qortal.dev/docs, you could visit the API and see for yourself how easy it is to understand to get and fetch data from the Qortal Data Network. Furthermore, having the peace of mind that your data cannot be hacked, cannot be censored, cannot be taken down is definitely a plus as a web developer, since usually this is a big concern when building a backend as a web developer. Security and hosting, how is it going to be hosted, right? That's all taken care of on Qortal. And once again, publishing to QDN is like publishing to any other database. You can publish files, media, text, images, anything you would publish on the normal internet, really. So in a single sentence, Qortal allows front-end developers to become full-stack developers without all the headache of learning back-end infrastructure. So if that's something as a front-end developer you've been dreaming of, building decentralized apps, free of censorship, free of takedowns, and free of hacking, then there's been no better time than now to get started with Qortal and installing it and building your very own first Q app. And you could do so using only JavaScript, whether that be React, Vue, Angular, whatever your library of choice is. So yes, take some time to read the documentation. If not, drop a comment on this video. I'll be glad to answer you and point you in the right direction. We have a community of friendly developers just waiting to help you get started. So yes, please visit Qortal.dev. I'll see you on Qortal, and I can't wait to see what you're going to build. Take care.